My friends, it seems like we're getting ready now to fight for the Premier League title for next season. I'm seeing fighting words coming out from Enzo Fernandez in his press duties, and to be honest with you, these comments took me by surprise, but at the same time, they got me excited. It got me feeling pumped. And obviously with our final game of this pre-season tour against Dortmund tonight at 1:30 AM UK time. It's going to be an absolute late one, but it's going to be worth losing sleep for, my friends, because right now we're seeing a squad that clearly is feeling ambitious, that clearly is confident, that clearly is a beautiful reflection of how successful this current preseason has been under Pochettino. We're seeing players coming out saying things that we feel like a family. And you think to yourself, these guys have only been together for like literally less than 6 weeks, and already these guys are playing together as a team and they're fighting for each other as well too. And that's exactly what Pochettino said he was set out to do the moment he took over this job for us. And honestly, it's just really exciting to see what's set to come. And when you start to think ahead, because I know it's very easy to get carried away, but you look at next season, now that we don't have any European distractions, we have a 1 week rest to meticulously prepare for most of our games now for next season. And when you look at the investment made into this squad, when you see some of the sacrifices that we've allowed to be able to create these first team opportunities for exciting, high potential young talent, with this newfound focus now on signing technically accomplished players. Players who are comfortable at beating the press, players who are comfortable at receiving in spaces by themselves, that have the imagination and creativity to play those combination passes and moves together. And then you've given a squad like this, a manager like Pochettino, whose whole mantra and philosophy is on playing football the right way in this offensive attacking manner. As I said, how can you not have your head in the clouds just even a tiny bit, yeah? So, of course, today we play against a very accomplished opposition in Borussia Dortmund. Now, one thing I've liked about this pre-season is just the range of different opposition that we played against. We played against Wrexham, and the whole purpose behind that game was for Pochettino to assess how his teams implement his attacking ideas. And boy, did we do that beautifully. After that, we played against top 10 possession-based Brighton. An epic 4-3 game, very entertaining. We then played against the attacking Newcastle, and if it wasn't for a mistake, you're thinking to yourself, you're getting a result from that game. And after that, in Fulham, we have our London derby game. And right now, today against Borussia Dortmund, we play against a European class team who are very dangerous and effective on the counter-attack. Now, I watched that game against Man United when they beat them 3-2. Dortmund created 4 clear-cut chances compared to Man United's 1. And obviously, they created so much havoc and danger on the counter-attack. They played with like 35% possession, but they matched Man United offensively for shots on target, shots on goal. They beat them 4-1 when it came to clear-cut chances. So for me, I think this is going to be a very good test for Pochettino to further assess this team, yeah, because if there's maybe been one slight weakness this pre-season, sometimes we can look a bit susceptible on the counter-attack. Whether that's coming from teams attacking in the wide areas, or sometimes if there's like a hole that's being created in midfield because we aren't pressuring enough, because we aren't controlling that zone, because we aren't winning the midfield battle. And I still have a few little nightmares when I saw Anthony Gordon easily steam through our midfield to then play that ball in behind for Almiron. We play against Liverpool in less than 2 weeks, and they will take advantage of situations like that. Regardless, my friends, I think that this Dortmund game is going to be a very exciting game, and we're going to learn even more about this team under Pochettino. So in today's preview, I'm going to go through the very insightful press conference, which I've really liked. I'm going to discuss my predicted lineup, and I'll give my score prediction at the end too. Now, before I continue on, today's video was brought to you by Parimatch. My friends, I've got a very simple question to propose, but how would you like to win tickets to the Blues' opening Premier League match of the season? That doesn't sound too bad, right? Parimatch UK are currently offering new customers the opportunity to win 5 tickets for Chelsea vs Liverpool at Stamford Bridge on Sunday the 13th of August. Now, to be in with the chance of winning this incredible prize, you must create a Parimatch account and opt into the promotion. Once you do that, You then place a £15 bet on any Chelsea vs Liverpool market, and yeah, you also get £30 in free bets for entering. Full terms and conditions apply, with all the links you need provided below in the description. So I guess, my friends, all I can say now is good luck. Now, let's tackle what we learned in Pochettino's press conference for the Dortmund game. And as I said, I found this to be a very insightful press conference. Now, obviously, we start things off by discussing our new signing of this window in Leslie Ugochukwu. And as Pochettino kind of alluded to, he isn't too familiar with the player. He was being honest with that. But at the same time, he's set to take part now in his first training sessions. Now, Pochettino was quite cryptic in regards to whether he might start today against Dortmund or not, because he's literally only just joined up with the squads in the States. But for me, I'd like to think that Ugo is going to get some game time because it's pre-season. It's an opportunity to get like a quick impression behind how quickly he learns and adapts to situations, and of course it aids towards the player's conditioning as well too. Now, Pochettino stated that he's set to keep Leslie here until probably the final moments of this window, where of course there is a loan move lined up to Strasbourg, but if Leslie does impress, there's an opportunity to keep the player in the squad. So I guess we'll find out what happens as we get to the end of the month. With Dortmund being our final game of this pre-season tour, I felt like it was really reassuring to hear from Pochettino that he's very happy with the players, the staff, the owners, the sporting directors, and he's very happy with the work, especially with our recent performance against Fulham. Now, of course, one situation you'd imagine that Pochettino would probably prefer to have had, greater support in would be in terms of transfer additions. Now, obviously, we have brought in some players now. The Sassy is set to join up right now before he gets announced. Of course, Ugo has joined up too. But if we have ambitions now to mount a title challenge, all this preparation during pre-season has to be peak and optimum, and it's a bit of a shame that maybe key signings for the first team haven't had this opportunity now to bed in with this squad and this team. Obviously, Pochettino doesn't want to make an excuse up around that because he is really impressed by the standards of the squad, and as he said, he's aware that the club is still actively working on bringing in additions, and he understands that probably in the final weeks we will make some more additions to this team. Obviously, one case that I'm really curious in is, what does this mean for the state of the young players in the team? Pochettino has given a lot of opportunities to young players to impress them and to have an understanding behind their games, and obviously I guess he won't reveal who the guys are who he'll probably keep for next season. Pochettino revealed that once the team arrives back in London, he's set to hold meetings alongside our sporting directors to evaluate the state of the squad. So they'll evaluate who's going to remain here, who goes out on loan, and potentially who even gets sold. And now to end things, this was the part of the press conference that I personally liked, and obviously with Dortmund being the final game, and I've said this a million times now, and obviously he was asked whether we might prepare like a secret friendly for when the team arrives back in London, and Pochettino said this. He said that when we arrive back, we are going to analyze the state of this team, right? Because one thing that gets forgotten quite a lot is that players are not machines, and actually they suffer when you introduce so many changes. Pochettino said that we have to analyze and work hard, and actually giving rest before the Liverpool game could actually be the most beneficial way to prepare for that massive game, right? Because if the team has like a full week to fully focus and prepare for that game, as well as like proper rest for what's set to be a very intense battle, Pochettino said we must be clever and provide the best tools to arrive to the Liverpool game in the best conditions, and I think that is by far the fairest answers. Let's now move on to discussing our predicted lineup for Dortmund tonight. Now, recently, I've not really been getting these lineups correct, and I kind of feel like I'm going to struggle now to predict things correctly for Dortmund tonight. A part of me is in two minds. On one hand, I'm thinking, surely against Liverpool, you want to see more of your first team players, or the guys that you feel will start against them, maybe playing a full game together to build better understanding, connections, etc, right? But on the other hand, I'm thinking to myself, if I was a football manager, would it make sense to bait out my best 11 before the Liverpool game? Because clubs have analysts, and of course Liverpool analysts will be analysing what we're doing during pre-season. Does it make sense to play your best team and reveal your cards? I'm not too sure. And actually, if you look at the previous lineups in our past 4 games, there has been a lot of rotation. So if, let's say, Ben starts one game when Cucurella starts the first half, etc, etc, we've seen a lot of this type of patterns in terms of our lineups. So I'm gonna go on my hunch that Pochettino won't reveal his cards. But before I do that, I do want to say quickly too that I'm hoping that Ugochukwu does get minutes, because again, it's the final game of preseason. I don't see how him coming off the bench even would necessarily kill things, and you still want to really assess him in game in terms of how he compares and plays with his teammates, right, in like a pressure-free environment. So on the screen, my friends, this is my lineup for tonight. I've gone for Nico Jackson up front. On the left-hand side, Mikhailo Mudryk. And Nkunku in behind, and on the right-hand side, Ian Maatsen. Now in midfield, I've gone for Santos and Conor Gallagher. In defence, I've gone for Cucurella, Levi Cole, Thiago Silva, Reece James, and Kepa in goal. Now, I'm going to start off by discussing things from top to bottom. And obviously, I'm going for this front four in a sense because we've scored quite a lot of goals when these guys have played together. And the goals have been evenly distributed across all these positions. I think right now, in terms of the personnel we have in this team, Ian Maatsen is the best fit to play that / right wing / 8 role in the team, because Pochettino wants his wide guys to come in closer to connect with the striker, and Maatsen has shown incredible versatility, skill, and goal threat as well too. So this kid is really impressing me. Now in the case of Nkunku, he's played across different positions throughout pre-season. Some games he's played up front as a 9, other games he's played as a 10. Other games he's played on the left-hand side, and he's played in all these positions to really good effect. But I do think because Nico Jackson, I'm expecting, is going to start, I want to see how Nkunku and him actually play together. And of course, Mudryk's introduction speaks for itself. I think the fact that he can really exploit his pace and his dribbling skill sets, now that he's been isolated 1v1 on the left-hand side, that's going to open up a lot of possibilities, and it's going to really add a lot more speed to our attack. Now midfield, I've gone for Gallagher and Santos to start. Now obviously, Enzo Fernandez will most likely start the second half, and he started the last game. So based on my reasoning, I wouldn't be surprised that Gallagher starts, of course, not only to not really let Liverpool know what's going to happen, but also because we have to still condition these guys and spread out minutes evenly. But I'm hoping that Santos is like a constant that remains, because I liked how he's been playing against Newcastle recently, Fulham, and I think realistically he is the best Caicedo option we have in this team right now, and no one really has a similar profile, so he has to start. And obviously in defence, I've gone for Cucurella. I've gone for Cole, Silva, James. I think Cucurella will start because Ben will probably come on second half. It's been okay. He's not been necessarily awful. Of course, he doesn't bring the same type of vim that maybe Ben has, but even Ben's been okay and not necessarily like setting the world on fire. But of course, there's a possibility that he remains with us. So Pochettino has to feel that he can trust these types of guys. So I think Cucurella starts today. I'm interested to see Cole and Silva playing, because, you know, their build up from the back is really going to help our team play forward really quickly. I think Cole, Pochettino absolutely loves him. He secured his long-term deal with us, and it's nice to know that we have that stability secured in the team. And obviously with Gusto starting the last game, I think Reece James will start this one, and of course Kepa kind of speaks for himself. So that's my predicted lineup. I'm hoping that in the second half, Santos gets replaced by Ugochukwu. Then we'll probably see Enzo Fernandez come on in the second half, and that's how I'm hoping things play out. So my friends, let's end things now with a score prediction, and I'm going for a 3-2 scoreline prediction. Obviously, when you're going to introduce so much change throughout games, of course, first half lineups, second half lineups, you can't expect there to be like that same tactical consistency throughout. For me, it's more about how can we score against Dortmund, and I'm feeling optimistic in those regards. But I also kind of feel like we still aren't fully ready yet to fully, you know, prevent teams that play on the counter-attack and look to find those moments. That will be a work in progress thing for us to improve upon over the next few weeks and even months. But once we bring in those reinforcements in the window, that will greatly help us improve in minimizing these types of mistakes in our game. But I think Dortmund are a good test, nice European class team. They've scored like 21 goals in their past 5 preseason games, so they've had a very successful preseason. They're in great form, and I do think that it's going to be a really good test for us, which I think we should pass with decent colours. So my friends, that's the end of today's preview. Share your thoughts and opinions, and on that note, I'm NEFC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.